今スライドないっぽいです。
わかりました。ある。
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's guest speaker. 写真撮る方いらっしゃったらどうぞ前にお座りください。Would you mind if our photographers take your photo?
なるほど。
Thank you.
なるほど。ちょっと待ってください。You take all these pictures, but I never received them.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, here in the room and online. Thank you very much for coming to attend our event today. My name is Khaldoun Azhari. I'm the first vice president of this club and member of PAC Professional Activities Committee who organized this press conference. Our guest speaker today, Ambassador Waleed Siam, Ambassador of the Permanent Mission of Palestine in Japan, is a return speaker. He came here a few times and talked about the issues. And since that issues in Palestine still going on and wars are still going on, supported by many countries indirectly, we have now a lot of events going on there, including the latest ceasefire. We had so many ceasefires in the area. I think we have world record in ceasefires in the history of mankind in the Middle East. And we hope we reach, lastly, one final ceasefire and everybody lives in peace. We don't know if this is possible or not in the next coming years or centuries. That's why we have here our ambassador friend, Waleed Siam, to tell us about what's next for the situation in that area. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start the event. Please.
Thank you, Khaldoon. Thank you for the introduction. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me today. I don't want to go into a debate on many matters, so I'll leave for the questions later on so I can answer them. I'll just give my statement, is that for 76 years, Palestinian people has endured displacement, oppression, and systematic denial of their rights, all under the watch of the international community. Today, I stand before you as a representative of my people who refuse to be erased. The recent ceasefire offers a brief and fragile after 15 months of relentless Israeli aggression that has devastated Gaza, killed tens of thousands, and displaced over 500,000 Palestinians. While the truce allows for prisoner exchange and the possible return of some displaced families, it does not erase the immense suffering caused by the Israeli bombardment and blockade. The humanitarian crisis remains catastrophic, with Palestinians in Gaza struggling to survive amid the destruction, shortages, and uncertain future. True peace cannot come without justice, an end to the occupation, the lifting of the siege, the recognition of the Palestinian rights. As international actors, including Japan, considering their role, their focus must be beyond temporary ceasefire and towards addressing the root cause of the conflict. Israel's ongoing military occupation, apartheid, and denial of self-determination, only then there be a real hope for just and lasting resolution. The Palestinian also cabinet firmly condemns the Israeli Knesset for approval of the first reading of the bill that allows illegal settlers to register confiscated Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank. This is just a mere legal procedure. It's not a mere legal procedure. It is a direct step towards annexation, a blatant violation of international law, UN resolutions, the Oslo Accords. Israel is attempting to erase Palestinian sovereignty and expand its illegal colonial settlements under the false pretense of correcting historical injustices. We also strongly denounce Israel's suspension of UNRWA operation, a decision that places millions of Palestinian refugees at immediate risk in Jordan, in Syria, in Lebanon, in West Bank, in East Jerusalem, and in Gaza. UNRWA is not just an institution. It's a lifetime for displaced Palestinians, providing essential education, healthcare, and food assistance. And it's not 16%. It's actually over 75%. Israel's destruction of the refugees' camps, schools, hospitals is a deliberate attempt to erase Palestinian identity and push for further into exile. The suspension of UNRWA by the Israelis necessitates a strong international response to halt these measures immediately. Under international law, which Israel does not comply nor respect, and as an occupying power, Israel is legally obliged to ensure the welfare of the Palestinian civilians. Instead, it's carrying out mass atrocities. UNRWA operates under the United Nations General Assembly mandate, the same mandate that gave Israel the right to be part of the partition of the UN Resolution 181. And Israel has no legal authority to disseminate any United Nations agency, as they are governed by the international law and supported by the United Nations. UNRWA does not operate in Israel territory. Very important. It does not operate in Israeli territory. It operates solely in the Palestinian territories, West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem. And this is a clear evidence that Israel does not recognize the Palestinian territories, only recognizing them as Israeli territories. an occupier mentality. What happens if they dismantle UNRWA? There will be a humanitarian collapse. The loss of UNRWA would plunge Palestinian refugees into deeper suffering and no alternative services in place. Nobody can replace UNRWA. Escalation of the conflict, the suspension of UNRWA definitely will fuel instability and violence. And also it's in violation of international law. Israel's actions do not absolutely absolve of its legal responsibility as an occupying power. Israel as an occupying power by international law has to protect Palestinian civilians, to protect who they occupy. Yet Israel does not do that. Furthermore, we are deeply alarmed and condemn any attempts or plans to forcibly displace Palestinians from Gaza to Egypt or Jordan, affecting over 1.5+ million refugees who were originally displaced in 1948 and 1967. And they were promised to return. And until today, since 1948, with all the United Nations resolutions, with all the international law, those refugees that are in Gaza or in the West Bank have not the right to return as refugees. The law, the UN resolution says they have the right to return as refugees. This is a continuation, definitely of the Nakba. Represents a grave violation of international law. Such forced displacement is nothing less than ethnic cleansing. Threatening the unity of Palestinian territories, we acknowledge the solidarity and supportive nations, including Egypt, Jordan, and warn the world that it will destabilize the entire region. Then they talk about democracy. What kind of democracy when they turn children into orphans? What kind of democracy bombs hospitals, schools, refugees camps, burning them, reducing them to rubble? What kind of democracy demolishes churches, mosques, while claiming to uphold religious freedom? This is not self-defense. This is a genocide. The oppressors' accusations are nothing but baseless distractions meant to justify their war crimes. The truth is clear. Israel is committing genocide in Gaza and now continues systematically destroy Palestinian communities and refugees camps in the West Bank, using every means to erase our existence. Israel is not targeting Hamas as they claim. It is specifically targeting women and children. Roads, schools, hospitals, places of worship have been obliterated. Even humanitarian aid convoys are bombed. Meanwhile, Israeli extremists openly discuss turning Gaza into a tourist destination, exposing their true goal: total occupation and ethnic cleansing. Even one of their ministers said, and one of the senators of the United States clearly said on TV, let's nuke Gaza. The facts are undeniable. Over 150,000 Palestinians have been killed, injured, or missing. 70% of Gaza has been destroyed. Entire families have been wiped from civil records. Education has been halted for almost 15 months. The trauma inflicted will last for generations. 19,000 orphans so far in Gaza. Despite this, Israel claimed that actions are justified. But there is no justice in genocide. There is no victory in massacring civilians and reducing cities to ashes. Gaza is a small coastal road. Originally, so everybody doesn't know that maybe, originally measured 550 square kilometers under the 1967 Armistice Line. But yet Israel, after occupying of 1967, occupied 185 kilometers, reducing the size of Gaza, and today it has reduced it more by occupying Gaza, the home of over 2 million Palestinians. More than 2/3 of them are refugees from 1948 and 1967. Gaza has been really a focal point of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. After democratic elections of 2006, Israel and its allies rejected the results, imposing a blockade on Gaza, suffocating its economy and restricting the movement of people, not only in the Gaza, but also in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Israel's aggression against Gaza is not new. Major conflicts occurred 2008, 2009, 2012, 2014, 2021. The current assault, which began in October 2023, has been the most brutal, reducing entire neighborhoods to rubble. Israel forces to continue to desecrate Islamic Christian religious sites, systematically violating the right to practice religion. Most of the leaders go to the mosques in Jerusalem just to agitate the people. This is what we call a systematic ethnic cleansing. The Israeli ultra-radical Zionist government has made its intention clear. The destruction of Gaza by carpet bombing and cutting off food, water, medicine, supplies are part of a premeditated effort to push Palestinians out permanently. And we have seen many statements of Israeli leaders, including the Prime Minister, saying that the Palestinians should go to the Sinai Desert. Reports confirmed that forced displacement plans were in place ago as the occupier policy, proving that it's not about security, but about ethnic cleansing. The international community must take immediate and decisive action to stop Israeli violation. We call on the United Nations to reaffirm its commitment to UNRWA and reject Israeli illegal interference. The European Union, Arab League, the international allies to take concrete steps against Israeli settlement expansion and war crimes. The United States to end its unwavering support for Israel, violations of human rights and international law. And to those who believe that they can erase us, let me be clear. You will fail. You cannot bury the truth, and you cannot silence a people determined to survive. To the world we say, the mask of self-defense has shattered. The lies has been exposed. The time for accountability is now. Justice must be done now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to open the floor to Q&A. I start with Anthony. Please, Anthony, proceed to the front mic. I know where is. Thank you, Anthony, for taking care of that.
Hi, Anthony Trotter with ABC News.
Sure.
In this new landscape, Gaza is in ruins, Hamas is still around, the Assad regime, gone. What's Palestine's plan for governance, reconstruction, and recognition? What's the strategy moving forward when this war finally ends? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me be clear. Hamas has no authority to govern Gaza or to govern any part of the Palestinian territories anymore. Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people. The Palestinian Liberation Organization and the State of Palestine are recognized to be the only representative of the Palestinian people. As for the governor to govern Gaza, reconstruction of Gaza, and others, we want to build Gaza, rebuild Gaza, but shall we rebuild it again so the Israelis can come and destroy it? It's like a catch-22. Yeah, it's your fault. No, it's my fault and all. Before we really go into rebuilding Gaza, we call on all the international community members to look at the core problem. The core problem is Israeli continuing military occupation of the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem. You cannot have peace and you continue on occupying people. You cannot be a democracy and continue on occupying people. I don't understand the talk about they are a democratic country. How can you be a democratic country when you're occupying people for the past 76 years? Why didn't you respect the Oslo Agreement? And then they go to Camp David. Camp David was a farce. They didn't give us anything. Actually, it was less than what we got in Oslo Agreement. The Israelis always like to negotiate less and less and less. If you take 1%, they keep negotiating until you get 0.01%. That's their history. Look at their history. So we want to end this conflict by the ending of Israeli military occupation. And also, we want to rebuild Gaza and the West Bank and East Jerusalem to be a futuristic city. I am a resident of Gaza. I have lost everything. My wife's family is from Gaza. She lost everything. We're looking at the pictures that they're sending us now. It's rubble. It is not what they say. They were against Hamas. When you're against Hamas, you don't carpet bomb with 88,000 tons of bombs, smart bombs, civilians. And they say that Hamas was hiding after civilians. Well, everybody watched Hamas for the past week. They came out. Where? How did you destroy them? To end this conflict is to end the occupation. People say, how can you have peace? There is no peace. Today, Palestine is in pieces. In the West Bank, over 700 checkpoints. Also in the West Bank, we have over 700,000 Israeli illegal colonists living in there. And today, also the Knesset gave them the right to register this land that they steal. You steal and you register in your name. That's the people that want to have peace. When the Prime Minister or his Minister of Defense says, we are fighting human animals. When all the cabinet of the Israeli government cabinet, all of them, and I have statements, all of them, and I think everybody read them, but nobody really took them into, no, it is serious. Let's kill them. Let's finish them off. Let's nuke them. All of this, is this a sign that this Israeli government wants peace? No, it's not. So, to conclude my answer to you, we want Gaza to be a futuristic city. We want to give hope for the next generation. Do you believe that a child that lost all his family, 50, 60 people of his family, do you think if we don't give him hope, what will happen to him? What he's going to grow to be? We're going to have this psychological problem and many social problems. So it's now we have to end the conflict. We have to start caring about each other because Israel cannot survive alone. It's like we and the Israelis in a boat on an ocean, in the ocean. If one of us is out of the boat, it's going to sink. So Israelis have to really understand. No Palestinian state, no peace. Very clear.
Next question, please. Yes, Shimura-san.
My name is Takuya Nishimura, Independence. Back in the background of this ceasefire deal, there was an effort by the United States, President Biden and President-elect Trump. So what is your evaluation of the involvement of the United States in this deal? Do you think it's completely neutral between Hamas and Israel or Palestine and Israel? What is your evaluation?
Thank you. Very good question. Well, as you well know that the Biden administration put a ceasefire in May. It was refused by the Israeli government. In July, it was refused by the Israeli government until the pressure of Trump that they accepted this ceasefire. And I thank here Egypt, Qatar, and the United States that they had got us to this temporary ceasefire, and I hope it lasts for a while, because it will save lives, Palestinian lives. The American administration of Biden is a double standard. They want ceasefire, but yet they give billions of dollars of aid to Israel. And they give them the most sophisticated bombs, smart bombs to the Israelis. And then they come and say, we need to do ceasefire. I mean, it's a double standard. You give ammunition to them to kill us, and then you come and say ceasefire. So it's a double standard. I don't believe that the American administration until today, the past, the present, and the future, as long as they think that the Palestinians have no right to their own sovereign state, then they are on the wrong path. And that path will not bring peace to the region.
Thanks. More questions? Right. While you think, I have a question.
Sure.
How do you evaluate Japan's position on the Palestinian issue in general and on Gaza issue in particular? Japan has been one of the most supportive country, economically mostly, to Palestinians. And Japan considers Israel as a country that violates the international law by continuing to build settlers, settlements. So how do you evaluate Japanese position? Thank you.
Thank you. So Japan has been a great supporter of peace in the Middle East since 1953 in supporting the UNRWA and continues to support the UNRWA. Yes, it stopped for a while because of the loud voices that put pressure on many countries to stop the funding UNRWA. But then Japan realized that UNRWA is a lifeline to the Palestinian refugees in Jordan, in Syria, and in Lebanon, and West Bank, in Gaza, and East Jerusalem. So they continue because they support humanitarian humanitarian activities. Japan is a neutral country. Japan is respected by the Palestinians, by the Arabs, by the Muslims, by the Christians, by the Israelis. And Japan can play a very important role because the United States have not shown to be in any way neutral in its negotiation between the Palestinians and Israelis. We know that the Congress, the Senate, are all controlled, and whatever the Jewish lobbyist wants, it happens. But in Japan, thank God there's no lobbies because Japan is an independent country. And I believe that Japan can play a very positive role in not only in humanitarian aid, not only in economic development, but also in saving lives and be part of the international community as an important political actor.
All right, I will keep asking. Do you think that Israel is the most dangerous place on earth for Jews to live in, given all the wars since it started, was established in the mid of the last century until now? It's been involved in wars and whatever violence, and that I read that actually in many comments. It's not my own. I don't know in terms of statistics. But do you think Israel is a very dangerous place for the Jews to live in, and it should seriously reconsider its policies? Thank you.
Well, the Arab countries were a safe haven for the Jews that were forced out of Europe because what happened in Europe. They were welcomed in Iraq, in Lebanon, Syria, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, all of these Arab countries. And then they were forced to leave the Arab countries because the Zionist movement, and I think many Israelis, many historians has written that the bombing and the killing of Jews were done by those terrorist Zionist groups to force the Jews to go to Israel. Jews are welcome in Palestine. Actually, my uncle, may he rest in peace, and she may rest, was married to a Jew. We're living really happy with each other. I met many Jews in Jerusalem. They're still listening to Kulthum, Farid al-Atrash, Abd al-Halim Hafiz, which is the Egyptian singers. They still eat the hummus, fool, falafel, Palestinian food, and they lived in peace. But until this virus that came, the radicalism in Israel, the Zionism radicalism came to Israel, it's when the problem started. I think if they get rid of that virus, then I think Palestinians and Jews can live in peace. Because we have nothing against Jews. Because in our constitution, which I don't think Israelis have constitution, in our constitution, it clearly says the following: where Jew, Christians, and Muslim can live equally in Palestine. But in Israel, it does not say that Christians and Muslims, Arabs, have the same right of Jews. And that's why the discrimination. And that's why it's not a democratic country. And that's why they don't have the constitution. So I think the most dangerous place for Jews right now is Israel itself, because they are paying the price of the radicalism, of the virus of Zionism.
Thank you. Yes, Martina?
Give me a tough question.
I'm not sure if it's such a tough question. So I wanted to ask about
introduce yourself.
Oh, sorry. Martina Jeffcoat, independent as well. I wanted to ask about the allegation of ceasefire violations committed by Hamas, and on the other hand, also what has already been, of course, made public, ceasefire violations committed by Israel and their armies. And if you can speak on that, and also to what kind of likelihood there is that the ceasefire that is currently somewhat in place will actually persist and lead to a cessation, essentially, of the genocide. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think if you want to know what's the present and what's the future, we have to look at history. Israel has never respected any agreement it signed, neither with Jordan, neither with Egypt, neither with the Palestinians. So now, I do believe that this ceasefire, a forced ceasefire on the ultra-right-wing government of Israel, headed by what the ICC said is a war criminal, they have a plan. Maybe after they get all the prisoners out, they will continue attacking Gaza. You never know, because now they moved the war from Gaza to the West Bank, and they're only targeting Palestinian camps. Why? Because the camps are the signs of the Palestinian right to return. If they destroy the camps and destroy UNRWA also, that means then there's no rights of the Palestinians, of refugees, for Palestinians refugees to return. So in this ceasefire, I hope it continues, but I doubt it, unfortunately. But for the Palestinians right now, they're taking a deep breath of relief. Yes, they went back to the north. They saw the complete destruction. They have no homes, nothing, no water, no homes, and nothing. The 600 trucks that were supposed to go in as agreed in the ceasefire, no 600 trucks are going in on a daily basis. Israel is always putting obstacles to these trucks, maybe 200 to 300 trucks. They say, we are sending humanitarian aid to the Palestinians. What kind of a humanitarian aid are you sending to the Palestinians? You kill us and then you send us humanitarian aid? You know, when they said they vaccinate the children, they didn't vaccinate the children because they're humanitarian aid. No, they did that because they were afraid of the ICC and the ICJ. They don't do anything except if there is a result coming out of it. So I hope it does. Will it actually stay? It depends on both parties. But who's the strongest party? Is Israel. Who occupies Gaza? Is Israel. Who has the most powerful military in the world? Is Israel. Who's the victim? Not Israel for sure. The Palestinian civilians, women, children, and men in Gaza.
Thank you. Yes, Jefferson.
I'm a former Japanese journalist in America, and I'm a member here.
Sure.
My question is, have you ever presented this at the upper house or lower house of our Congress, Japanese Congress?
Thank you for your question. We are always in contact with upper house members and lower house members and the Japanese government. I think we have a very positive response from them in what's going on in Gaza. You know, politicians sometimes don't say what they want, but deep inside, they know what they feel. What the world, not only upper house and lower house, what the Japanese saw, what the world saw, for the past 471 days, on the social media, the atrocities that happened in Gaza, the children that were burned, the women that were killed, the destruction of the whole communities, the schools, the hospitals, and they claim the hospitals there were terrorists in it, and the school, okay, if there's one hospital, why do you destroy 17 hospitals? Why do you destroy 163 schools? Why do you destroy the whole Gaza, 70% of Gaza? Seeing these atrocities has connected people to really of their humanity, and they saw what Israel is really committing of atrocities in the Gaza. So I do believe that the Japanese government understands completely and sees and supports all international law and support the rule of law. Because without that, then we are in a jungle. So that we appreciate from Japan. It has voted in the United Nations on many times to stop the ceasefire. I think Japan has put pressure on the Israelis to stop the ceasefire. And hopefully that the upper house, lower house members will go visit Gaza. And I hope I challenge all media. Go to Gaza. Israelis will not allow you today to go to Gaza. They allow you to go with their military because they say it's not safe. It's safe. I challenge you, go to Gaza and write about what you see. Because what you're going to see is more than what you have seen on social media. Well, Japan is a very important.
Prior to the armistice announcement or?
Prior to this announcement? Yes, of course, yes. Since the beginning of the war. Yeah.
Thanks. For the record, Takahashi-san, his name, so Mr. Takahashi, one of loyal members of the club. I have a question online from Fred Vargas. He's asking, what is the status of Hamas in Gaza now in terms of governing the area and its relationship with the ordinary people of Gaza? And what is your personal view of Hamas? That's the first question.
Without any doubt that Hamas has been weakened for two reasons. One, they have lost a lot of their fighters. Second is because of the destruction of civilians and the death of civilians, the schools, the hospitals, the water, the infrastructure of Gaza. This also puts pressure on them that definitely they will not be able to govern, because we will not, as Palestinians, to allow them to govern. And it's time, Hamas, to have one choice, and one choice only, is to be a political group. It's like what Syria is happening today. The new government with the new president has announced that all the previous military people, after they go through a special procedures, they can join one united army, one united security apparatus. And I think we should not forget that Hamas is not coming from the moon or from the Mars. Hamas is part of the Palestinian society. So they have to accept being a political party, and then we will go into accepting non-military people into the security apparatus, and then the state of Palestine should be responsible to govern territories as in Gaza, West Bank, and East Jerusalem, as what we call the state of Palestine, that is recognized today by over 149 countries, not including Japan, unfortunately.
Thank you. I have two more questions from Fred Varos. Do you think a two-state solution can happen, and how? And second question, some observers say that Iran's influence on the region has been weakened. Do you think this is true, and does it affect Palestine in any way?
Sure. Well, I don't see any other possibilities for a solution than a two-state solution. Because if it's one-state solution, Israel ethnocracy, which defines itself as a fully Jewish state, not a democratic state. You can't be a democratic state just for one ethnic group. A democratic state, like the United States, it has a various of ethnic groups in there. So one state is out of the way. Kicking us out and forcing us out to here and there, that's out of the question too. Because what we've seen, can you show the people returning from the north? What we saw, Palestinians that suffered for 471 days, returning to the destruction by hundreds of thousands. This only shows that the Palestinians will never leave their country. Even if it's destroyed, they will rebuild it again. Palestinians this time is rooted in their land, and they will continue to be rooted in their land. So a two-state solution is the only way, which is a 2-4-2, Israel withdrawal to 1967 borders with East Jerusalem, and they have West Jerusalem, and two-state solution. And if they want to build a wall, instead of building it on our territories, the 700-kilometer wall that has eaten up more of our land in the territories in the West Bank, is do it on your side. I think I explained the other day to my friend that the solution, Israel has more land, has 78% of the land, and we have 22%. Today we have less than 22%, but let's say we go on the Oslo 78-22%. I think the best way is we take 2/3 from the Israeli side, 1/3 from the Palestinian side, and that will be like North Korea, South Korea, a buffer zone. Buffer zone for us, bring all Americans, Italians, French, Japanese, and put them in that buffer zone between the two states until the next generation it grows up to be more accepting the coexistence. But I can clearly and adamantly say, without a Palestinian state, sovereign, control of borders, air and sea, I could say with confidence, there cannot be peace in the region. The only way out, and Israeli occupation, a Palestinian complete sovereignty with borders and everything. If they don't want, like previous speakers in Tokyo have said, we go to 1981. The partition, which is, by in law, United Nations has no authority to partition Palestinian land. But it did partition of 181. Okay, then we go to 181, which we accepted at that time. And in Geneva we went, but the Israelis never showed. So, two-state solution is the best way out. Ending occupation is the best way out. There is no other solution. Some observers say that the Iran influence on the region has been too. I believe and I call on all countries that they state they want to liberate Palestine, to liberate Al-Aqsa, to liberate the churches, to liberate the Palestinians. Leave us alone. We can do it on our own. We don't need your help. Because many of these so-called countries, entities that want to help the Palestinians to liberate and have the two-state solution have only created chaos and destruction on the Palestinians. Palestinian issue is a Palestinian issue for Palestinians. It's not in the hands of X and Y and Z countries. If you want to support the Palestinians, support us in the international conferences that we are in. Support us in rebuilding Palestine. We don't want weapons. We don't want money. We don't want aid. Teach us, don't feed us. And I think we Palestinians are very well educated and well comfortable with ourselves to rebuild as we have rebuilt other countries in the past. We have doctors, we have people in NASA, we have people in Congress, we have people everywhere. So the Palestinians are always taught of life, not death. So, again, take your hands off Palestine. Leave the Palestinians alone. Whoever observers, they want to come and liberate Palestine. If they want to liberate it, send their armies. Send the tanks, send the airplanes. But talk. Thank you very much. Enough is enough.
Thank you. We still have time for more questions if you like. Yes, please.
My name is Hirofumi from Nikkei. My question is that U.S. President Donald Trump said that people in Gaza should move to other territories such as Egypt or Jordan. What's your thoughts on this?
Sure. At least somebody asked me a good question so I can answer. I was waiting for that question. Well, Trump approach to reshaping the Middle East while overlooking our inalienable rights, Palestinian rights, for a sovereign state and based on 1967 borders. First, it violates international law. I keep saying international law, but unfortunately, and people that talk about international law, do not comply with international law. But anyway, And we must not really permit a single individual to undermine the rule of law, as if it's his directives are the only ones that matter. No one really holds divine authority on earth. And he certainly, and they certainly, do not represent such a power. You know, I always like to quote Einstein when they asked him about define insanity. He said, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the different results. They're still doing the same thing over and over and over. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, he declared Jerusalem as the internal capital of occupying Israel, occupation Israel. And the world said no. At the United Nations, including Japan, voted no, will not accept it, because it's against international law. Palestine and Palestinians are not piece of a pawn in a game that you can move them. Yeah, today we give them Jerusalem, tomorrow we give them West Bank, then we take 2 million to Egypt and Jordan, and then Indonesia and all that, and all. Jesus Christ. If you have a problem with that, take whoever you love and put them in America. America is huge, Arizona is big, California is big, Colorado is big, Texas is big. But leave the Palestinians alone. Again, let me emphasize and reiterate, we Palestinians are not going nowhere. Whatever he does, whatever they say, you know, on this and that, if he does not come with a comprehensive peace plan that is just for the Palestinians, and I don't think it's acceptable by any Palestinians. It's just a hasty, political, naive statements that we have heard. I don't understand how they can imagine of moving 2 million Palestinians out of their land, uprooting them, and putting them in other countries. Hello? Palestine is for Palestinians. And will continue to be there.
Do you think the Palestinians would like to go?
Of course not. I don't think. The picture I showed you that people are returning to north. And the people that stayed in Gaza during the war. The Americans tried to make what they call a sea bridge so they can get people out. They were offered visas. They were offered to go to these countries here and there. A few left. Yeah, but they're coming back. They will not leave. Those people that lost everything, do you think they're going to go? No, they're going to come. They're going to stay. They're going to build. And they're going to show the world that they are resilient. Palestinians are resilient. No, the only power that can really move those Palestinians is a divine power. Only God. Other than that, dream on.
Thank you. More question? Yes, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Adila Azizali. I'm a student at Temple University, Japan. Given Egypt's fears about destabilization and its occurring economic struggles, do you think that if Egypt was more on a stable basis, that they would be more inclined to accepting Gazan refugees, or do you believe national security concerns would remain a factor? Thank you.
I'm really surprised of your question, because it seems to me that the Palestinians are the problem in Gaza, and that Egypt will accept them or not accept them because of the economy in Egypt, not in Egypt. The Palestinians are not the problem, and they will continue not to be the problem or the obstacle to peace. The obstacle to peace, again, are the Israeli military occupation. If that's not clear to the world, then I'm sorry, the world is blind or cannot hear very well. Egypt is for Egyptian. Jordan is for Jordanians. Palestine is for Palestinians and whoever wants to come and live with us. Whoever doesn't like that, they can go to the countries that supports them and live over there. Maybe they'll have a better life there. You know, maybe less taxes, good food, good water, nice weather, they can ski, they can fish, whatever they can do. Palestinians, again, is not the problem. And to go to Egypt or to go to Jordan, we're not going anywhere. Whoever doesn't like them, like this, they can go somewhere else.
Thank you.
Nothing against your question. Please. It's a good question anyway.
Thanks for your quick speech. I'm Takeda from GG Press, Japanese news agency. You told that Hamas has just one way to be a political actor as part of Palestinian society. But Israeli ambassador to Japan, Mr. Cohen, speech prior to you, concerned that Hamas's ideology to eliminate Israel. What do you think about it?
You know, when your house is made of glass, there's a saying, if your house is made of glass, don't throw stones at your neighbors. Let's look at what Israeli leaders are saying. Let's nuke Gaza. Let's kill their children. Let's burn them. Let's exterminate them. Let's force them out. Let's do this. Let's do that. So many, not from 1948 until today. There are voices in Israel that are peaceful. And we extend our hand to those people that want peace because we want peace. But we want Palestine in peace, not in pieces. So this statements, derogatory statements that Hamas wants to destroy Israel, but Israel doesn't want to destroy the Palestinians. So it's a two-way road. But Hamas leader Ahmed Yassin, a crippled leader, in a wheelchair, that doesn't hear good, that doesn't talk well, very sick, announced, he was the leader of Hamas, announced that he will accept a two-state solution, 1967 with East Jerusalem. What happened to him? Israel assassinated him with 2 rockets coming out in the mosque in the early prayer in the morning. What does that show? Rantisi, another leader of Hamas, that called for a two-state solution, was assassinated. Haniya called for a two-state solution. He was assassinated. The leader in Lebanon called, Hamas leader in Lebanon called for a two-state solution. He was also assassinated. Every leader of Hamas that calls out and say, we accept two-state solution, he's assassinated. Go look at the history. And don't believe me, it's there. But for them, they killed the terrorist. But look at the statements before he was assassinated. You know? And then you can see they assassinate anybody that wants to accept a two-state solution. Because as long as Israel can claim that those groups that wants to destroy Israel, there is no solution to the peace. There's no two-state solution. And as long as Israel government, this radical government, continues on war on Gaza, on the West Bank, it's safe. Because the minute this war stops in Gaza or in West Bank, what happens? First, the Israeli government will fall. Second, the Prime Minister of Israel will be arrested on corruption because he has so many corruption in Israel. Third, he has an international ICC warrant of arrest for war crimes. You understand? So continuing the killing of Palestinians and continuing using this talks of they want to destroy Israel and this and that and this and that, this and that. All I say to them the following. If you really want peace, why didn't you accept the Arab Peace Initiative in 2001? They keep talking about Camp David. Camp David we gave them. Mart, we talked to Abu Mazen. But the Palestinians refused. They always miss an opportunity. Listen, we gave them the best opportunity in history. 2001 Arab Peace Initiative that stated the following. All Arab Islamic countries, including Iran, if Israel accepts the United Nations resolution of 1967 with East Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine, all of them will recognize and have peace with the Israelis. But no, the Israelis will play another game. They like to go to this country and make peace with it. They're under the Abrahamian thing, and okay, you can do with all countries you want to do with Abrahamian. But there is no normalization between people and people. It's just a big lie to the world. Oh, we are signing peace accords under the Abrahamian and with this. This is a bunch of bull, sorry. Because the people of those countries has not really normalized with the Israelis. And neither the Israelis has normalized with them. We could see it in many Arab countries. So, to come and say that they want to destroy, look at the past. Plus, who created this? Who brought $40 million every month from Israel into Gaza? Who? Who allowed it? Wasn't it Netanyahu's government? Who allowed it? So if they really think that Hamas is a terrorist group and Hamas wants to destroy Israel and Hamas wants to do this and Hamas wants to do it, why would you allow $30 million to $40 million a month, per month, since Netanyahu have been in office to go into Gaza? Why? Ask them that question. And ask them the Israelis, why don't you ask the Israelis, why did they continue occupying Palestinians? Where is your borders? Where is your constitution? I have my borders. The United Nations has recognized my borders. I have a constitution. I'm not occupying. I'm the victim of Israeli military occupation. Again, let me reiterate something. They put labels on us as terrorists and others. Do I have still time? But when the American Revolution started in 1770, when the French Revolution in 1789, when the Haitian Revolution in 1789, also 91, sorry, when the Spanish-American War of Independence in 1808, Revolution of 1848, and others and others and others. Those people that rose in America, as an example, against the British colonies, against the British occupation. Why were they not called terrorists? Why is it when the Palestinians resist under international law, the military occupation, we are labeled terrorists? It's a double standard. It's very clear. Double standard. So, we extend our hand to every Israeli that really wants peace with us, the Palestinians, to make his voice loud. First, end the occupation. And let's have a two-state living side by side. Justice for all, respect for all, coexistence for all, and not one is better than the other. All equal. And we are ready at any time. We didn't miss any opportunities, as they always say. Palestine, go to 2001, Arab Peace Initiative. It's on the table. United Nations Security Council resolutions, United States General Assembly resolution, International Humanitarian Organization resolutions. So many resolutions for the solution. Never Israel complied with it. Under the pretext of, they want to destroy us. They always played the victim. I mean, we are the victims. My father was the victim. I am now the victim. And my kids are the victim. And my grandkids are the victims because we are still refugees. We are not allowed to return to our own homes. That I have in my office the original documents from the Ottoman Empire and also before the Ottoman empires that this land lived on, my family lived on it. So you cannot come and say, erase me from it. No, we compromised. 78 for you, 22% for us. Leave us alone. Thank you.
Thank you, very hopeful. We almost reached the end of the session, but please let me pose the last question.
Sure.
It's also about the future, which is the title of our meeting today. You said that there was a carpet bombing of Gaza.
Yes.
And I read some reports saying that the bombs dropped on Gaza by Israel equals 5 atomic bombs of the one that dropped over Hiroshima. I'm not sure about this, but I heard it in many places. Also, many people talked about what we saw in Gaza is the first ever genocide online in the history of mankind. And all of this, Israel is still enjoying everything normal. And there are reports also that Israel might annex the West Bank. So, given that, do you think that Israel has really a good chance to continue its move to conquer all of Israel, all of Palestine, and depart all Palestinians, and established its own only Israel country? And especially, we don't see any sanctions against Israel after all of that. What do you think about the very near future?
Well,
shall we expect the same thing happens in the West Bank? Thank you.
This is a clear evidence of a double standard of the international community. 88 plus thousand tons of bombs that has fallen on Gaza. I don't know how much in particular was the atomic bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but definitely it's more than 2 or 3 or 4 bombs. But there is no really comparison between Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and the Gaza. The only thing that we can compare is the suffering of the people from these 2 greater accidents. With all this, genocide online, ICC, ICJ, International Committee, and I'm very surprised when they said, when the ICC came out, said this, the Prime Minister and the former Defense Minister is under arrest for war crimes. They don't respect the ICC. ICC is part of the United Nations organization. ICJ too. So they accept whatever they want and they refuse whatever they want. And they say some of the international community members do not accept the ICC. Habibi, if you want to continue on this, that means that we're going to be living in a jungle, you know. And then I think they talked about Syria. So I'm going out of the subject about Syria. And Syria has not yet asked the ICC and the ICJ, and I'm definitely that they should apply for that, and that Assad will be a war criminal because what he did is a war crime. Israel committed war crimes in Gaza. Israel committed genocide in Gaza. Israel even stopped food coming in. I can show you, show them, they come and say that they gave us food and they gave us this and they gave us this. Illegal settlers and soldiers were taking the food out of the trucks and not allowing trucks to come in. Show them the bombing of when the Palestinians went to bring their food, they were bombed. By mistake? No, it's not by mistake. Yeah, this is from the Israeli. I want you all to go to Telegram, X, and others. It's called the Israeli Genocide site. It shows you Israeli soldiers, how proudly they put on their sites how they committed crimes in Gaza. They came from USA, they came from France, they came from and they put it on the social media. And on the social media, they show you that they were in Gaza, how they bombed because a birthday of his friend or for his wife. Hi, wife, I'm sending you this for happy birthday. Boom, and they blow up a school. They were very proud. It's there. It's It's online. It's online.
He died later.
Huh? Now, some of them right now, there's some of them I just watched today. He was in Gaza, now he's in Las Vegas. Other one is in California. The other one is in Italy. And the other one is somewhere. So those crimes that say that's not genocide, it's not war crimes, go online and check Israeli soldiers, what they put on. They're showing us. They're very proud of that. They're not killing Hamas, they're killing civilians. If this is not a war crime, if this is not a genocide, I don't know what to call it. But again, my message to every Israeli and all members of the international community, we Palestinians want peace. We want justice. We want equality. We want our sovereignty, a sovereign state. If you, the international community, cannot provide this, then the international community should be a failure and the UN should be closed and every international organization should be dissolved. And let's live in a jungle where there is no rule of law. But you cannot accept the rule of law on some and choose not to on some. Selective, be a selective on it. The rule of law on all. We want peace. We're fatigued of the war crimes. We're fatigued of the genocide. We're fatigued of the occupation. 30 children, less than 17 years old, even one is 13 years old, has been arrested by the Israelis as a prisoner for the past 2 years. Like underage. In any international law, you cannot jail children under the age. But in Israel, it's okay because they are protecting themselves. So it's a double standard. Peace is the only way out. Ending occupation is the only way out. Palestinians should be the only people to decide on their future, on their leadership, and to be the only authority on all Palestinian territories, including East Jerusalem, West Bank, and Gaza, and to end all illegal colonies in Gaza that's going on now and in the West Bank. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This wrapped up our event today. I appreciate your insights and I hope your message of peace become true, at least within a year, and then you can come back to the club and talk about it. And for that, I would like to give you 1 year honorary membership to our press club.
Thank you very much.
You are basically almost a member, many years, and please enjoy our club and membership. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much for attending and have a nice evening.
Thank you for your questions.